Hey guys, good morning. How are you? It's Miss Meredith, and I have our read aloud for today. And I thought I would do the book that is the sequel to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Does everyone know what a sequel is? What I mean when I say that? It's the second book that goes with it. So, for example, you all love the movie Frozen, and Frozen 2 is the sequel to Frozen 1. Toy Story 2 is the sequel to the first Toy Story. So a sequel means it's the one that comes after. And this is the sequel to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and it's called Pickles to Pittsburgh. And in this book, people take what's happening in Chew and Swallow and they try to make it into a good thing. Dear Henry and Kate, I'm having the best vacation ever, but I don't get much rest. I really wish you were here. Our group travels around in a big blue bus, and somehow it manages to climb up and down the tallest and bumpiest mountains and around some of the biggest plants I've ever seen. We visited many unusual places, met the local people, and even helped them out with some of their chores. I'm taking lots and lots of pictures because this place is hard to believe. Can't wait till I see you next Thursday. Love and hugs, Grandpa. Oh, so Grandpa's on some kind of a vacation. I wonder where he went. We all miss Grandpa an awful lot. His Saturday morning pancakes, his mostly funny jokes, and especially his wonderful bedtime stories. Tomorrow would be Thursday, and he'd be home. We could hardly wait to hear where he had been and what he had done. To pass the time, we helped Mom make spaghetti and meatballs for dinner. Henry made the largest meatball we'd ever seen. They barely fit in the pot. Mom thanked us for helping, but asked that the meatballs be much smaller next time. After we finished eating, Henry and I cleared the table so we could help bake a special welcome home cake for Grandpa. It was chocolate with strawberry icing and made in the shape of Grandpa's face. We licked as much batter off the spoon as we possibly could. I took Grandpa's postcard up to my room and put it on the little table beside my bed. I kept staring at it and wondering. The lamplight made a bright photograph of a wonderful place that seemed somehow familiar. I said goodnight to it and drifted off into my dreams. Surrounded by milky blue skies and with Henry as my co-pilot, we carefully steer our plane through large puffs of mist. Soon we find ourselves soaring over an island, a very lumpy island. From the air, it looks like a gigantic feast. Immense vegetable salads and desserts lie beneath us, and the mountains look like huge loaves of bread. She's in bed, and then in her dream, this is where she's going. We decide to take a closer look and prepare ourselves for a bumpy landing. Avoiding some broccoli and narrowly missing a tremendous hamburger on an oversized bun, we come down and taxi on what appear to be giant strips of crisp bacon. Henry and I step down from the plane and look around in awe. Below us lies a strange but wonderful landscape. We are surrounded by larger-than-life vegetables, and nearby is a lake that smells like breakfast, bordered by leafy jungles of lettuce that resemble a tossed salad. I guess this might be what happened to Chew and Swallow. We try to keep our balance as we walk around the top of a gigantic bagel and past a forest of towering carrots. One is pierced by a tunnel large enough for a car to drive through. Off in the distance, we see popcorn snowing down onto the peaks of enormous rolls. Way above our heads, high up in trees that look like broccoli, Chubby birds are nesting in huge shredded wheat biscuits. Ahead of us, at the end of a long road, lies what looks like an abandoned town. Eager to know where we are, we start walking towards it. Sweet-smelling rain begins to fall. It collects in hundreds of open containers that are lined up in a field beside the road. Lots of orange puddles are everywhere. It's orange juice! All of a sudden, we find ourselves standing in the shadow of a giant tuna fish sandwich being delicately airlifted by a helicopter. In the distance, another helicopter races off with a jumbo pickle in tow. So someone is collecting the orange juice, and they're taking the sandwich and the pickle. I wonder what they're going to do with it. When we reach what is left of the town, we see remnants of a sign welcoming us to a place called Chew and Swallow. Somehow, I know I've heard that name somewhere before. We walk through the entire town in amazement. Lots of food everywhere. Up ahead, lots of workers wearing helmets and dressed in matching uniforms are loading huge baked potatoes onto a truck. Other trucks sag under the weight of immense artichokes, enormous eggplants, and massive peas and carrots. Foot-long veal cutlets are stacked up to be packed for shipping. Oh, so there are people there doing work in Chew and Swallow. I wonder what they're going to do with this crazy big food that they're getting. To the east, weather is changing, and we can see sandwiches raining down. As soon as they land, they're piled up neatly, ready for shipment on a freighter anchored down by the shore. And this guy's shipping schedule says Monday, eggplants to Ecuador, chili to Chile, milk to Milwaukee, and hamburgers to Hamburg. And on Tuesday, they're doing pickles to Pittsburgh, pears to Paris, and artichokes to Argentina. Large reservoirs of milk and cream flow into extra-large containers, which are lined up ready to be loaded onto a ship. Printed on the sides of the truck are the words, Falling Food Company, large food for large and small countries, free. Oh, so they're packaging up this food and sending it to countries, but for free. So they're being helpful. That's a great thing. One of the workers tells us that Chew and Swallow used to be a very ordinary little town, except that instead of weather, food rained down from the sky for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Back then, he says, by some quirk of nature, the falling food grew larger and larger. Storms of gigantic food threatened normal life. So the people took their belongings and sailed away to a new land on rafts made of huge slices of stale bread. We remember that part of the story, right? They returned years later to see what had happened to Chew and Swallow. They discovered an endless food supply and decided to create the Falling Food Company. Now, daily shipments are made to all parts of the world, from the smallest towns to the largest cities. As soon as the food lands, it is wrapped, boxed, bottled, or packaged, and sent out to people who need it. Oh, so they took a bad thing and made something really great happen. Even with poverty and drought throughout the world, there is always enough food for everyone. Henry and I think this is a great idea. We wish we could stay and work here, but I don't think they hire kids. It's getting late and we hate to leave, but we really have to be heading home. Mom's expecting us for dinner. The workers give us a 2-foot wide chocolate chip cookie which we carry back to the plane. It just barely fits through the door. Getting a little hungry listening to this book. We buckle up, I rev the engine, and we start rolling down the bacon runway. As everyone waves goodbye, we can see dinner approaching from the west. Spaghetti and meatballs, I think. As we gain altitude, Chew and Swallow slowly vanishes into the distance. My alarm clock woke me with a jolt. It was finally Thursday and I wanted to get to school fast. The sooner I got there, the sooner I'd get home and the sooner I'd see Grandpa. I wonder how this is going to end. I wonder where Grandpa was. When we got home, we ran as fast as we could into Grandpa's waiting arms. I brought back something for each of you. A very large box containing a chocolate chip cookie he had gotten on his trip. They were the biggest we had ever seen, almost 2 feet wide. Mom made Grandpa's favorite dinner, chicken and dumplings, and we surprised him with our special welcome home cake. He chose the slice with the mustache. By the time dinner was done, it was late and Grandpa was tired. When he was all tucked into bed, we knocked on his door and gave him an extra goodnight kiss. Then I told Grandpa the most wonderful tall-tale bedtime story he'd ever heard. It began surrounded by milky blue skies and with Henry as my co-pilot. Grandpa stayed awake till the very end. Then he looked at us with a very funny glint in his eye and said, "Wait until I show you the pictures I took on my trip." And then he drifted off into his own wonderful dreams. Grandpa's home. And I don't know if you guys can see it, but if you look at the pictures on his bedroom wall, it's of food on trees falling. Where was Grandpa? So that story kind of is about people taking something bad that's happening and turning it into something good. They're helping other people. I thought today, after you hear this story, you could draw me a picture of how you help in your house and the things you do. Nice reading with you and hope to see you soon. Bye, guys.